What is going on, guys? Michael with MMA Island. I'm here with Zach, and we are here with the main event of the evening. I'll leave it to Bruce Buffer, but we got Derrick Lewis taking on Aleksei, the Boa Constrictor Oleinik. I feel bad not saying the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis, and then Aleksei, the Boa Constrictor Oleinik. Matchup of styles in this one. Really excited to talk about this one, but I will pass it on to Zach to start it off.
So I've noticed kind of a weird trend as of late that the UFC wants to match up Derrick Lewis with a bunch of grapplers. You look at his last fights, you got Daniel Cormier, Blagoy Ivanov, Ilir Latifi, and now Aleksei Oleinik. I guess they just want to prove his theory of jiu-jitsu isn't real. Just stand the fuck up. That is what Derrick Lewis has shown. He gets out of these submissions that I don't understand. I thought the Americana that Blagoy Ivanov had him in, that was going to be fine. It was going to be over then, right? Oh, Derrick Lewis just stood up. It was like it was nothing. Somehow jiu-jitsu and wrestling is just not a thing to him. It doesn't exist to him. But, okay, let's just look at what Derrick Lewis does well. Power. Whoa, there it is. Kind of about it. Power. But the interesting thing about Derrick Lewis is that in his last couple of fights, we've seen a new version of him. We've seen a slimmed down version of the Black Beast, because he always used to be the guy with the big gut coming in, throwing bombs. But then in his last two fights, he's looked slim. He's kind of pulled a Tanner Bozier on us, but he did it first. So should we call it Derrick Lewis? I don't know. But I don't know. He's doing things that we never really seen before. In the Ilir Latifi fight, he threw like 10 flying knees. If you would have said that Derrick Lewis threw 10 flying knees in a fight, I would have told you were crazy like a year ago. That's just not stuff that he would do. That shows that his game is constantly evolving. And, okay, Aleksei Oleinik, what does he do well? Submissions. Pretty much that's where it is. On the feet, he's nowhere with Derrick Lewis. It's not in the same universe. On the ground, it's not in the same universe. But what I've seen that's really influenced my pick is that Derrick Lewis does better against grapplers than Aleksei Oleinik does against strikers. Aleksei Oleinik's losses in the UFC have all come to very good strikers. His last two fights, Walt Harris and Alistair Overeem. And then, okay, I guess you can discount Curtis Blades a bit, but I think Curtis Blades is a bit of an underrated striker as well, knocking out JDS on the feet. But, okay, let's say Aleksei Oleinik gets this fight to the ground. I do think he might be able to get the sub, but I don't think it's going to be there. I think the biggest factor for me this fight is just watching Aleksei Oleinik's fight against Walt Harris. That he got caught by one solid shot and he was out. Derrick Lewis hits harder than Walt Harris. And we know that Aleksei Oleinik's chin is not the best. And how can it be? He's what? How old is he? He's in his 40s. I think he might be the oldest fighter 43 on the UFC roster. And yeah, I'm going to go with Derrick Lewis. I think he's going to knock him out pretty early in the first.
All right, so pass it on to me. If I'm a casual, and I'm not so much a casual, but if I'm just a person who's just skimming along this fight and just kind of going to the sure dog and talking about it, I would say, okay, well, looking at these fights, Derrick Lewis hasn't had that many knockouts recently. He got knocked out by Junior Dos Santos, and he got submitted by Daniel Cormier. So he's looked vulnerable. You guys probably thought I was going to say that, didn't you? No. I'm going to talk about Derrick Lewis, and I'm going to say he got submitted by Daniel Cormier. Okay, yeah. Who again is that? Oh, a former double champ and one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion, at least. I think Daniel Cormier is one of the greatest of all time. And getting him submitting Derrick Lewis, really don't put too much stock in that. Like it's you can't. Daniel Cormier is going to do that to pretty well everybody, anybody on the heavyweight division. I guess we'll find out next week as well because he's fighting Stipe Miocic again. So, talking into my pick, I'm going with Derrick Lewis on this one as well. He fought Blagoy Ivanov and Ilir Latifi and wasn't able to knock out either of them, but he was landing shots on both of them. One thing we know about Blagoy Ivanov is one of the greatest chins I think I've ever seen, and I think if you disagree, you're insane. Because that dude, I've seen Ivanov take shots before.
He got stabbed in the heart, and he's fighting in the UFC. That should tell you about his toughness.
Just to touch on that for a second. The dude got attacked by 5 people, got stabbed, and fought off all of them, and was in a coma, and came back, and then started winning MMA fights again. So that dude's insane. Anyways, talking about the fight, looking at Aleksei Oleinik, and you brought this up, I kind of wanted to go over his last fights. So Fabricio Verdum, not really somebody who's going to just go out there and knock you out cold. Maurice Green, not so much somebody who's going to go out there and knock you out cold. Walt Harris, definitely somebody that'll do that to you. And he did in 12 seconds. Alistair Overeem can hit. Looking at Mark Hunt back to 2018, Mark Hunt was also, 44 when that fight happened. So I don't really put too much stock in that one as well. He got knocked out by Curtis Blades. Just looking at Derrick Lewis, we know what Derrick Lewis does well. He's able to hit. And if he's able to keep his cardio, you gotta value him. If he's able to keep calm and not so much go out there and knock people out to the point where his balls get hot, he's able to knock people out, and he's able to actually show a decent good bit of striking. And I think he's able to do that. And part of the reason I'm going with Derrick Lewis as well is because I think he's able to do it early. I think he's able to get a knockout in the first round. I love Aleksei Oleinik. I love the Boa Constrictor. Man, those Ezekiel chokes are insane. I think it's one of my favorite submissions, just because it's so crazy to just be on bottom position and pull off an Ezekiel choke. It's crazy. And Aleksei Oleinik's been one of the greats at doing it. But I don't think Derrick Lewis is going to want to get anywhere close with him. And what we saw with Aleksei Oleinik, we know he's not the greatest of strikers. 8 KO wins, 7 KO losses. And albeit those 8 KO wins are coming out of a stock of 59 wins. So I would really like to see Oleinik get his 60th win, just because 60-13 sounds badass. But I do think he gets beat here by Derrick Lewis, because I think he's able to knock him out. Just because comparing who Derrick Lewis or who Aleksei Oleinik has beat, you can't really put them in the same conversation, to be honest. And even going back to the Fabricio Verdum Aleksei Oleinik fight, one thing to mention about that fight is a lot of people thought Fabricio Verdum won that fight. Second thing to mention about that fight is Aleksei Oleinik was landing shots on Fabricio Verdum, and Fabricio Verdum looked fine. And we've seen Fabricio Verdum knocked out cold before. So I think if you want to make a lot of money, and I'm not gonna say, if you're an idiot, if you want to say Aleksei Oleinik can knock out Derrick Lewis, hey, put some money on that, because I'm sure you could probably buy a house. So I'm going with Derrick Lewis on this one. Zach's going with Derrick Lewis on this one. I want to know what you guys think. I forgot to mention the UFC calculator, which is a good thing I didn't forget. So it's very close on the calculator at a 51.9% chance for Lewis, which I think is kind of valid in my opinion, just because Oleinik does have that huge advantage on the ground. And if this fight does go 5 rounds, you got to value Aleksei Oleinik a little bit more in those late rounds, just because we've seen Derrick Lewis kind of lose cardio. So passing into the outcome calculator, we got it at a 68.9% chance for submission. No, I'm just kidding. We got it by KO. So that's another thing that you could probably buy a house with, is a submission win for Derrick Lewis. But we both got Derrick Lewis. We both got it by KO, and I think first round.
Yeah, first round.
First round. So we both got Derrick Lewis by a first round KO. We want to know what you guys think. We did the whole card. If you just watched this fight and you haven't watched the prelims, go back and watch them, because if you buy into what we're talking about, we picked a couple underdogs. If you buy into what we're saying, bet some money, and you could make some money. So make sure you guys are showing your support. Make sure you guys are watching the other Fight Pick videos and commenting and letting us know your pick on every single one. Try not to be rude though, but anyways, we will leave it there. Like I said, show your support. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next card.